Hey everybody, James with Love My Pups, My Breeder Supply Q&A session for the last 10 days. Okay, can you get a blue dog from two creams? Yes, you can. So, what's going on here? So a cream dog is little e. And that, I'm going to put two dogs here, one above the other. Here's the other dog, it's also a cream dog, right? So, this dog here both dogs have to have a copy of blue to produce a blue dog. So let's make this one a blue carrier, it's got one copy. And we'll make this one a blue carrier, it's got one copy. So, what do you get? Well, here's your Punnett square. So we know that all the dogs, I put the puppies in the middle here, all the puppies are going to be EE. They will all be cream, right? Now, Punnett square, let's just look at the two dogs. We have a DD, a carrier dog on the top and one on the side. So what do we get? We get a DD, that's not a blue dog. We get a D little d, that's a blue carrier. We get a D little d, that's a blue carrier. My pen's running out. And we get a DD, there it is right there. There's the blue dog. There's the blue dog. I need to get another pen that works better. So there's the blue dog right there. There it is. Okay, so we would get, out of this litter, we would get 3/4 of the dog would not be blue, half would be blue carriers, and 1/4 of the dogs, 1/4 are going to be DD. So there's the blue dog. Now, will the dog look blue? No, because cream dogs produce cream dogs. Cream is like white paint, it covers everything up. So the answer to this question is twofold. One is, will you get a blue dog? Yes, but will it look blue? No. It will still look cream because cream covers everything up. So you get a dog, this is actually what we would call a blue covered in cream. You do get a blue dog in there, but it physically will not look blue. Let's just go one notch further on this and let's make both of these dogs blues. So what do you get? Well, every dog is blue, but no dogs look blue. And I'm going to go one step further because there's another question about how do you make a platinum, and we'll just cover that one at the same time. So this is a lilac, this is a platinum dog, and this is a platinum dog. So it's a cream dog, a blue dog, and a chocolate dog, mated to a cream dog and a blue dog and a chocolate dog, and it produces the same thing. And that is a platinum. So a platinum dog is a lilac, so a blue dog and a chocolate dog, that makes together a lilac. That makes a lilac, and then when you put the cream on it, then it's basically a lilac covered in cream, so you put all this together, and that is a platinum. So that is a platinum. So a platinum dog looks cream, but it's actually a blue dog and a chocolate dog combined. And nice thing about platinums is you can put them with all kinds of dogs, and you can produce all kinds of colors. You can produce creams. If he doesn't have brindle, you can produce fawns, you can produce blues, you can produce chocolates, you can produce a cream, chocolate covered in cream, which is a champagne, and you can produce platinums. So platinum dogs, in terms of their color DNA, get to be pretty interesting because they can produce a whole variety of different colors. And that's the reason why I have a platinum male. His name is Humpelop, he's gorgeous. Cherry eye, is it hereditary? What are we talking about here? So what we're talking about here is, I have a lousy picture of an eye, so excuse my terrible drawing. So here's an eye of a Frenchie, and here's the dog's pupil. And there is a membrane in the corner of this eye right here. There's another eyelid, and sometimes you'll see that pooch out, and you'll see an area of red right here that pooches out, and that's called cherry eye. And most of the time, cherry eye will resolve itself. You can give steroid drops. Typically, you'll see it in one eye. You won't see it in all the puppies because it's not an infectious thing. You're not going to give this to another dog. This is not an infectious situation. But this is a swelling of the membrane, and the membrane then pooches out. It's normally held in place, but it pooches out. You'll see a video of mine where I physically take my finger and push that back in and get that to go back inside. And hopefully it'll quiet down and it doesn't become inflamed. Steroid eye drops can help the situation a lot. If that doesn't fix it, then the ultimate thing is you have to have surgery done on it. It's a relatively simple surgery. So the question here is this something of concern? Well, so one of the problems with having the surgery done is it can stop production of tears and it can make this eye dry. So that's one problem that you can run into. And then the next thing, is it a hereditary condition and should you be breeding that dog and pass it on? So I haven't seen this very often in my dogs, but I have seen it. I did have a litter of 9 puppies and one of them had cherry eye. And so my conclusion was that I thought it probably was not a hereditary condition, partially because I knew both parents and had produced puppies before and they had never produced cherry eye problems. So I ended up getting it fixed because it wouldn't resolve itself, and then she went on to be a great little girl and had multiple litters and I never had any problems. So, but the problem is, could it be hereditary? Yes, it could be hereditary. Is it always hereditary? No, I know it's not always hereditary. How do you decide? Well, if you get a litter and you get 1/4 of the whole litter's got it, it's probably a hereditary condition. And in that situation, what I would recommend is if you're going to rebreed, don't put those 2 dogs together. Take take the female to a different stud because it's probably a double recessive gene that we can't test for, but it is there. And if you go to a different stud, it probably will come back. So I think it takes 2 to tango to produce a cherry eye, is what I'm saying here. Blah, blah, blah. Somebody made a statement here, most dogs don't conceive on their first litter. Most of the puppies don't make it. No, I don't agree with that at all. So certainly dogs that are less than a year old that have come into heat, if you breed them then, you're very likely will not get a litter. And I wouldn't recommend that you do that anyway. I think that any dog to be bred needs to be at least a year old. You want a dog to not be as skitsy and running around all over the place and be mature enough that it can look after its puppies. And I can tell you that dogs that are between 12 months, I'd say 12 months and 18 months, they are the harder dogs to get pregnant because their heats tend to be rather erratic, especially if they have their first heat in this period. Dogs that have had a first heat at 8, 9, 10, 11 months and you wait 6 months, you're probably a better shot at getting them pregnant. But as far as the puppy surviving, no problem at all. I mean, you may have to step in and do some things for the first few days because mum doesn't know what's going on. You may have to be surrogate mum. But other than that, no, I think that there's not an issue there. Okay. My girl is in heat. Should I breed her? Well, so I mean, this is something that you have to decide. Number one, is she old enough? So that's what we just talked about right there. The next one is do you have time for it? I think this is the biggest thing. Is what is your situation? I mean, especially in things like French bulldogs. They are going to take your attention for the time prior to having a C-section. So you've got to be there 24/7 for at least a couple of days prior to the C-section so that you get the whelp timing right. And then you've got to be there for at least a couple of days afterwards 24/7 just to make sure that mum's doing her thing. And if she's not doing it, you can step in and help. So you definitely need to have yourself, if you're going to breed today, then you can expect to have puppies about 2 months and 2 weeks from that day when they first decide that dog's in heat. About 2 months and a week, 2 months and a week and a half, you're having puppies. You want to have a week blocked out there where you're not going to go on vacation. You're going to be around and you can do the things that you need to do. So I think it's more of a, are you available? Because you've got to make a commitment. And then you've got to decide, is this the right, who are you going to breed her to? Do you have that lined up? Do you think she'll have nice puppies? Are there any problems with the dog that you should not be breeding because you don't want to perpetuate those issues? Those are other things to consider too. So lots of different things you have to answer, and I think you have to be clear in your head what you're doing. How long does semen stay alive in a dog? If I breed my dog on day 7, I've heard that semen will stay alive for many days and I'll still get her pregnant. Well, I don't know the answer to this one. I mean, I hear that one too, that the semen stays alive for, up to 4 days in a dog. I think that's probably not right. And the reason I say that because, I do see times where we've obviously bred a dog early and we've either had a small litter or no litter. So, look, I think it's very hard to be able to get any solid evidence on this. And the problem with, even if you did, it's going to vary by the stud and the female as to how long that semen might stay alive. I mean, the pH of a vaginal tract, the quality of the semen, all these things could affect the longevity of the semen. So the best thing to do is get the timing right. You know, you're much better off breeding early than late. If you breed late, you're not getting puppies. I mean, the window of opportunity, if this is a graph that showed, now let's just take day 11 as being the right day, and that may be the wrong day, but we're just going to take day, that's optimum. That's the optimum time, right? We're going to pretend that's optimum. So we'd like to breed then. I think the window of opportunity for this to have a litter is probably plus or minus 2 days either side of that window. So that's day 9 through day 13. That is your opportunity. I think that it's probably plus or minus 1 day to not affect litter size. So if you really want to get a good litter out of this, then you should have been breeding from day 10 to day 12. That would be on a single breeding. So that is the reason why I recommend that people do 2 breedings, because if you do that, you can expand this whole window and have a much better chance of being successful. So the point here is I would not just say I'm going to breed on day 7 and expect to get good results, because I suspect that lots of time you will not get good results. I think that you need to, and I put some videos together on how to time the whole AI process. Go look at those, I think they'll help you. What happens if a dog is bred to multiple studs? Well, so if you breed a dog to 2 studs at the same day, then who knows which one of those dogs actually produced the offspring you're looking at? Because the answer is it could be produced from both of them. And so the only way that you're going to determine this is going to be either because the dogs are so different in their DNA color that you can tell. For instance, one of them's a pied dog and the other one has no pied at all. And if you get some pied puppies and some not pied puppies, you know that both are dads. But you can go do a parentage DNA. And the place to probably do this, if you've got an AKC dog, is with the AKC. So I think the cost of this is $40. It requires you to send off a cheek swab, and then they will give you a piece of paper back that's got a bunch of letters on it that is the parentage of that dog. And you have to do that for both the males and the puppies. So you're spending $40 times 2 for the studs, and then you spend $40 times however many puppies you've got, times the number of puppies. And with that information, you can tell exactly which puppies came from which dad. Straightforward. I've got a video on that. And then you're going to have to do 2 litter registrations, so it's going to cost you another litter fee, another $25 on each litter registration. So you're going to spend some money. And so, should you do this? Well, I wouldn't do it deliberately, but I've got people who do this for various reasons. Some of it's accidental. So, if you've bred your dog and you're finished, don't just let your dog run around. Because I'm running to this one, but somebody calls up and says, "Oh, we bred the dog, but I went outside and another dog's hooked up with my dog. Does it matter?" Yeah. Especially if it's not the breed you want or it's not the dog you want. Yeah, you kind of were a bit delinquent on that. No. Keep your dog in the house for at least a week after you've finished your AIs, because the dog can still be receptive, absolutely, and maybe longer than that. So, don't make a mistake if you can avoid it. You'll save yourself a lot of headache down the road. Somebody asked, can your dog get pregnant if it's not in heat? No, if it's not in heat, it's not getting pregnant. But you can have a thing called a silent heat. You can have a dog that, although there is no signs that dog's in heat, in fact it is in heat. How can you tell if your dog is really in that situation? Get a progesterone test done. Dogs will, and that brings up something else that people ask me about. How do I know if I've missed the dog's heat? So if you look at a graph of progesterone here versus days, what you see is this graph of progesterone where the progesterone level is at some number less than 1. It goes up to some number that's 20 or more, and it drops down. This period is the heat. This is the heat itself. And this heat lasts for something in the order of, it really comes back to when you see first signs of blood. This whole thing lasts about 70 days. So if you've got a dog that you're not sure whether the dog, you've missed a heat, stop bleeding, you never see any blood, is my dog in heat? Get a progesterone test done, because regardless of whether the dog has been bred or not, the progesterone level is going to be above. It's going to be a high number. It's certainly going to be above 10. Yeah, and beginning stage will be less. But if a dog that you think you might have missed it, you can tell and have a high progesterone level, regardless of whether it's been bred or not. think. Oh, this last question here. Somebody's asking about a blood test for progesterone. They want to do this in-house test, the target test. You have to pull blood. They're asking about if you need to spin that in a heparin tube. A heparin tube is a tube that has a coagulant in it to separate the blood. The answer is that what I do is I just spin the blood down with a centrifuge for about 5 minutes. Separate. So what you do is that you get a tube. This is greatly bigger than this. You put the blood in it, spin it, and what you find is that the blood separates out, and you get dark red blood on the bottom, and you get much paler blood on the top. And this is the plasma that you use. Just spinning it makes that happen. If you don't have a centrifuge, you can use a ceiling fan. I've got a video that shows you how to do that. You don't have to have a centrifuge. It takes quite a bit longer. 5 minutes in a centrifuge at high speed, and an hour on your ceiling fan will get the same thing done. So you can do all this at home with nothing more than a syringe and a needle and the target test to be able to do this yourself at home. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. As always, appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. If we've got things wrong, let us know. If you want other things mentioned, drop us a line. And the most important thing is, be safe. Look after your doggies. Bye, everybody.